Hi, I'm Matthew. Welcome to Miniscape. The purpose of this channel, for now, is to share with you my hobby and its stories. I've been into miniatures and wargaming for a few years now. Okay, more than a quarter of a century, give or take. Sure, I've had some breaks here and there, but I've always come back to it. But allow me to tell you how it all started. To begin, let us journey back in time to 1995. I was in my first year of secondary school. A distraction had caught the attention of my friends. They called it Warhammer. It was a sort of board game. No, a tabletop game, but with models that you assemble and paint. I liked games. I liked painting. It seemed right up my street. After all, I had built and painted Airfix planes, Spitfires, Harrier jump jets. I was no stranger to the brush, and I had played a game with miniatures before. Anyone heard of Dark World? I remember one friend spoke of something called a Space Marine Rhino and another of Blood Angels. With no pictures for reference, my imagination conjured up strange images of futuristic soldiers with rhinos' heads, or of winged cherubim dripping in blood. How wrong I was. My friend was about to change all that. He agreed to sell me a plastic Space Marine for the modest sum of £1.50. That was about a week's pocket money for me at the time. I agreed, and one lunchtime we made the exchange. The Space Marine was the famous plastic sergeant from the 40k 2nd edition box set, armed with a chainsaw and bolt pistol. I kept him by my bedside table from then on, unpainted but ever vigilant as I slept. But it wasn't enough. I knew there must be more. Trades in the playground wouldn't do either. I needed to visit the shop itself. The thing is, I had seen Games Workshop before. Their shop was next to the bus station in my hometown, but I had never been in. But that was all to change one evening, when my dad kindly took me to said shop after school. I had been saving up my pocket money for weeks, and I had £12 to spend. It's funny the things you remember. I remember Fairground by Simply Red playing on the store speakers. It was high in the UK charts at the time. I was confronted with a wall of metal miniatures in blister packs, and another with boxes of models I couldn't afford. In the middle of the shop floor were some teenagers and 20-somethings playing games and painting miniatures. I wanted to stay longer to watch, but my dad told me we didn't have long. I had come to buy some models to build and paint. Metal miniatures looked intimidating, and not as cost-effective as some of the plastic ones. I needed some advice, and the manager was more than happy to assist. He was quite the character. I particularly liked his impression of orcs, and I wondered if managers had a course to learn how to do that kind of thing. He recommended one particular box for me, and this became my first purchase. Space Marines, Warriors of the Imperium. 6 multi-purpose plastic Citadel miniatures on 25mm bases. It cost me £5 at the time. If only I had kept them unopened until now, I could have made a tidy profit selling them on eBay. But young Matthew never thought that way. With my remaining money, I bought a Citadel starter brush and a few paints so I could paint them to match the box art. Skull white for the prime, and for the base coat, ultramarines blue, blood red for the bolt guns, golden yellow for the trims, chaos black, because I could mix that with the white to make grey, and of course goblin green for the base. I still have some of these. When I got them home, I set to work building them immediately, and it didn't take long. I basically copied the box cover. I liked that there was some customizability, since the torso and legs were separate. Some legs were walking, while others had the legs outspread, like they were about to rapid fire. But I wouldn't learn about that for a long time. The set came with more arms than you needed, and combat knives. I think I glued one to the barrel of the bolt gun like a bayonet. The spare arms would form the beginning of my bits box, and my hobby trend of hoarding all things plastic. I liked the way the bases had a line across to show where to glue the feet. That was a nice touch. Unfortunately, I no longer own the original models. It's probably for the best. No one needs to see my horrendous prepubescent paint job. I can tell you now they were painted more than once. And not being aware of any plastic-friendly paint strippers at the time, that means, yes, I just painted on top of the existing paint job. Talk about polishing a turd. And in a manner inconsistent with law, my ultramarines became blood angels. I don't recall what happened to them, but I expect they were sold with a job lot on eBay in the Great Purge of 2010. I regret a lot of sales I made that year, which was the majority of my childhood Warhammer collection. I suppose that's what brings me to today, that and the influence of social media. So, last year, I decided to embark on an ambitious project, rebuild my old collection, with improvements of course. Thanks to some lucky purchases on eBay, I have been able to do just that. And so, may I present 5 Space Marines, warriors of the Imperium, painted as ultramarines in a way that 12-year-old me never could. I know there were 6 in the box, and a 6th one is there, in my bits box somewhere. But I only need 5 for this project. These are the first of a 10-strong Devastator squad. In 2nd edition 40k, it was mandatory, at the beginning at least, that some squads be exactly 10 Marines. No more, no less. However, the Devastator squad box only came with 5 models, the Sergeant and 4 heavy weapons. To make the squad game legal, one could buy metal models in blisters, or cannibalise an existing tactical squad. But I think these 5 are a good fit. It did sometimes puzzle me why there were 6 in the box though. Now, I think I'm a reasonable painter. Sure, I'm no Golden Demon winner. But I use the 3 feet rule. If they look good 3 feet away on the tabletop, then that's fine for me. For these, I didn't want to kill myself with edge highlighting, so I did a bit of cheating. Anyway, here's the recipe I used. Black Prime, Republic Blue Spray from Colourforge, Overbrush with Calidor Sky, Dry Brush with a mixture of Lothan Blue and a dash of Calidor Sky, and then a touch of highlighting with a mix of Lothan Blue and White. I used Vallejo Golden Yellow for the trims, painting them with white first. The bolt guns are Mephiston Red. The metallic areas are Army Painter Gunmetal. So yeah, I guess I'm paint agnostic. For the base I first glued on some sand. I sometimes take an empty container when I go to the beach. I find that natural sand has a range of shapes and textures. Plus, it's free. I think this batch was from Cleveley's Beach in Lancashire. Of course, I had to paint the bases green. My Citadel Goblin Green ran out decades ago, so I used Army Painter Goblin Green instead. I know it's not an exact match, and many videos have been made about the search for Goblin Green, but I'm not too bothered. The 3 feet rule applies again. And so here we are. This isn't the first retro ultramarine squad I have painted, and I hope it won't be the last. I hope you, like me, enjoyed this hobby journey. I can tell you there are plenty more, I am certainly looking forward to telling them. And with that, I had better get painting some more miniatures. Take care, and thanks for watching.